So, going on to the next step of this guy, I'm going to be doing a dry brush over this patinaed surface. And I'm going to use kind of a dark brown. I probably don't have a brown that's dark enough. This is pretty close. Let's see. Yeah, I probably want it darker than that. I want it almost black is what it comes down to. Some of these paints I have are probably over 10 years old. A lot of them I think are no longer made. But I mean, as long as you're using acrylic flat or matte paint, you'll be fine. Still want it a little, well, actually, like when you look at these things, the closer they are, the closer the surface is to kind of being rubbed, I guess, handled, whatever, the darker it is until it gets to the metallic, where it's like rubbed so much that it's been polished, I guess. So what I'm going to do is a pretty heavy-handed dry brush here with this dark brown. I don't mind that I'm completely blocking out some of that blue-green that I have under there, because like I said, the patina is never consistent all the way around the sculpture. There are places where it spreads and grows more than others. Now the nice thing about dry brushing and simulating patinaed metal is that your brush is hitting all the areas that are naturally going to get touched and worn down, just like the real metal would. Now that's pretty much what a lot of patinaed bronze looks like. It's just kind of that dull brown finish on the rubbed spots, and then that blue-green in the crevices, but I want to give it a little more pop, so I'm going to use some metallic paint to hit the highlights. So first I'm going to use some copper, and you will not need much of this at all, because the highlights are, you want to hit them very gently. So for this I use a smaller brush, and I load up the brush, just the tip of it mostly, and then you brush most of it off on a paper towel. And then you start pretty lightly at first, kind of gingerly feel it out to see how much you want to get down on there. And again, I'm trying not to be super consistent with how I apply it. I'm trying to be a little bit random, just like nature. You can see how subtle that is. You know, on this side of the face, I don't have any of the metallic paint. On this side, I do. You do not need a lot of this stuff. If you just glob it on, it's going to look like fake acrylic paint. Now I've still got some wet spots where the brown and the blue-green is drying, so I'm going to move to this part where it's almost completely dry. As with my sample test piece here, I like mixing it up, so I've got some copper and some brass in there. The cool thing is bronze and brass both patina the same way, with that kind of blue-green in the cracks, so I think it works. And for that I'm using, I think this is gold, I don't know, it's yellowish, however you want to interpret that. And I'm even just using the same brush, because I keep it so clean in general, I load it up with the new color and paint that off, and it's pretty much to the gold. Very delicate with it. Hold on one sec. I'm going to run this into the bathroom and blow dry it for a little bit. Alright, I'll dry it now. better with the gold than I did with the copper. Just because in the fiction of my mind of this, how this metallic sculpture was brought to being, the brass is of higher quality than the bronze because reasons. And it looks really cool to me for the gold to stand out. I'm going in and hitting, I would say I'm kind of punching up just certain areas so that there's some variegation across the surface. So it looks like conceivably rain has been dripping over this thing for centuries or whatever. Okay, I'm going to go back to my copper and hit those spots that I couldn't before because the paint wasn't dry yet. Alright, so I'm unhappy with how shiny it is up there, so I'm going to go in with my brown again and knock that back down. It's starting to look like a penny. Now I am just hitting little bits of the ivy strands and keeping those copper and doing the leaves in the gold. I don't mind these being a little shinier because they're kind of isolated elements, and I think it works better for the design for them to pop out a little bit. Otherwise it can kind of just get lost in a big mass of noise. Alright, I think I got this where I'm happy. Let's move on to the quote-unquote realistic version.
With an army of titans, Poseidon